The Dire get a ban.
Is the Radiant ban.
And they keep making the same mistake over and over again. It seems to be it's usually you that's the idiot. That's the lesson I've learned.
You know, it's funny because I've watched a fair amount of BSJ stream, and he very often thinks other people are idiots. So
that just tells you so much about everything. And now back to the draft, as we have had 2 picks since we last discussed it. Disruptor into the Wraith King, not exactly like a hard counter that I would think of. It is good against the Centaur in the sense that, you know, it doesn't let you run away. But they picked Bat Rider into Disruptor, which I think is quite strange. It's decent against Tiny, but I like Disruptor as a 5 against the Bat Rider.
I don't mind it, but I think the main idea here is that enjoys playing into his Bat Rider running at you. So it's kind of like a window of the game where Disruptor can do well, but then does better.
Hear me out, hear me out.
I'm listening.
They done goofed on Extremum, dude. You guys ready?
Yeah, aren't they gonna pick something that actually works with Empower?
Yeah, they've already got the catch. They've already got the catch from Disruptor and Lion. They don't need these quaps and pucks, Extremum. We have not liked the bans.
Okay, let me explain to you why Extremum hasn't goofed.
There we go. I was gonna say,
Whole bunch of single target pickoff.
Okay.
Yep.
Turn to pick.
It's an anti-GPK strategy right there.
They are not letting him get to that.
And I think if GPK is playing this mid Tiny, he's got to blink into the fight to get the fight, right? He's going to have to die at some time.
He's in an unfavorable matchup against a whole bunch of single target burst damage.
He's not going to break.
If GPK plays Slark, they could just give him Slark, because it is almost near impossible to die on Slark this game.
That's true. And then he hits the big number. What's the number, Brian?
17.
I wish there was a camera on us.
Couldn't see it on screen.
Oh my gosh.
Robson gave Brian the alley-oop, and with his fingers pointed to 7, and Brian decided to have a goof of his own and make that
any
17.
education, right? I do this.
That was a great moment. That was a great moment. Very good. It's just we're not on camera, guys.
I know, but I feel like we were vibing right there.
That was visual comedy.
It's even better when you have to explain it, Cap. It makes it even funnier.
Well, I hope they record. Maybe we can get like behind the scenes footage. Yeah, the true side of our panel. Like so, Ron, they mean business.
Okay. Just you wait. Here comes that last big Slark for VIRTUS.PRO.
They are stocked up in the background. You see that?
Is that a Coca-Cola?
Yeah, it's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
A whole bunch of waters.
7 bottles of Coca-Cola.
Is Jenkins the coach of this team
or something?
Yes, why they're in the, their position. Hey. Okay, so they need to pick up most likely the 5. They go for the dazzle. We saw that just
give
from
me
OG.
Slark. Let me feast that essence ship upon thee.
Yeah, I agree with Brian. Slark right now is just popping.
A good Slark game. All of a sudden, Brian goes all biblical on him.
Please.
He's salivating.
They're asking for it.
I shall smite thee.
This is like the best defusal Slark game ever. Like literally ever.
Okay, anything else?
No.
There's only Slark.
Literally nothing.
It's all Slark from here, boys.
Dude, I'm disappointed. How do you pick Void into Wraith King Dazzle? I mean, they're gonna win anyway, but why'd you pick Void into Wraith King Dazzle?
The real question here is, GPK is on a hero that can't play on the backlines. He's gonna have to initiate. So of course, the memes and the fact that he has got the record tied now of no deaths, that probably will not be broken. He won't get to 7, but yeah, VP. They've got the accelerant for the Void to find fun with the Magnus. They are such a scary team with this, and Extremum, they at least have some type of pacing to play around. I think the BKB on Bat Rider, and then the general pressure that you apply with Centaurina could go in their favor. But then it's the whole idea of the timing, the fact that you might fall off eventually to this overfarm Void.
Are you guys okay with the fact that they don't have none of their cores can pump damage into the
Tiny Ags?
I think that
Tiny Aghanim,
This
sure.
is TI-7, TI-8 stuff?
Yeah, that was.
this Void is more of a kind of vision enabler where he'll be the tanky one kind of going in and out with like an SMY, unlocking the vision of the fight, and then you'll be having the RPs layered in, the tiny initiations, and when the fight's good, you might get a chrono at the end, but we're not seeing the chrono being the primary way in which heroes are dying in this game. He is again the one kind of scouting out the fight for VIRTUS.PRO.
Okay.
I think they're on paper, if the teams are equal of skill, I think VIRTUS.PRO would struggle in the lanes here. So I think it's quite possible that Extremum could get out to a lead, but I do think the execution at the end of the day, VIRTUS.PRO win 1 or 2 team fights. They have the double circle skills with the RP and the chrono, and I think it'll be enough eventually.
Breaking the record?
No, I actually think they're going to all in him with Batrider at some point.
I'd like to see GPK at least get picked off once in this game, but I have a tingling, a little tingle that he might somehow not die in this game, just a little one. So we'll see.
All the way from
Something about
Legend
the
of
word
Zelda,
tingle.
we've got our very own Tingles here on the panel. That is, well, it looks like there's maybe pause during the draft, but it doesn't matter because I've already started my throw. So the casters are going to have to fill instead. It's Moxie and Fogged.
Well, T's got a little tingle, I guess, for this particular game. But, you know, we're seeing some of these hero picks over here for VP that are very comfortable, right?
Yeah.
We're seeing the Lion for save. We're seeing DM Magnus. But on the flip side of that, we're seeing Extremum playing a draft that's possibly going to be able to have a little bit more time to play it out and get their foot into the game.
Moxie, they can actually play Dota this time, I believe. They have stuns, they have heroes that actually work well together. Not too crazy about the way they're actually positioning the two supports. They're actually putting the Lina top and putting the Dazzle with the Centaur, which for me, I'm not too certain why they do that one, because I love Lina's Centaur lane. The double stun lane is very strong, especially versus a hero like Void, but it's an approach they are going to be taking. It is still a double stun lane top, but I feel like that does make Nefrit's lane quite a lot weaker. He's a Wraith King versus a Magnus. Magnus's base damage when he gets the Empower and just the right clicks that's going to be coming out from Lion. How does Lina help? I don't know if Lina's usually played in this role to assist so much, so I don't really like that kind of thing that they did with the switch up, but overall draft, it can actually do stuff. And the lanes, they do look pretty good, and you do see, you know, what they were talking about, Wraith King versus the Void and stuff like that. Extremum do have much better heroes, but this is VP we're talking, so.
All right, so laid out for me here with Extremum, right? They've got a draft that's going to be able to make things happen. How do they need to maneuver this precisely? Because I know you're already not happy about the fact that Lina is being placed in position 5 instead of 4. Obviously, you know, some pressure is going to be placed over on the Centaur to, you know, start to really tank up, be that frontliner, but also the Bat. How do they play this Bat into this? They have so many ways to stun him and interrupt and everything.
He has to dominate the lane. I think that's going to be one thing I'm looking out for. Base damage, though, is not the advantage for Batrider. It's a kill lane. You have to just play around literally trying to kill the Tiny over and over again. Otherwise, you're just going to get smashed in the farm because you have such a disparity. The way you play for these kills, play for just shutting down GPK as best as possible. Bottom lane, I think this lane actually doesn't look too bad. I think they can actually put a decent amount of pressure onto Nightfall if they had the Lina here. Fortunately, they do have the Dazzle, so I think that's going to make it a little bit easier for Nightfall to just farm up down here.
Already you can see those stacks of Sticky being dropped over here onto GPK. Doesn't start off with
He just wants to get his bottle out and just, he wants advantage over the Bat. Gee, he steps up too
double
far.
stun too. Of
Oh
course,
my
use the
God.
Fairy Fire, the Ray Fire Blast.
Oh, that gave me a bit of a heart attack. He stepped up so far.
Save and really right now feels like guys, look at the stuns. They're just having their own separate battles on both sides of these trees.
Yeah, I do love Lina as a hero right now. At least always to go for these trades, but usually it's traditionally not played as this 5. See what G's able to do to protect Nefrit mid lane. Seeing right now, Meljo's actually doing pretty solid, at least in the start here. First.
Talked about top lane. A lot of pressure being placed here over onto Nefrit.
Oh, nice
LSA
stun.
coming in over onto 2. See you buy a bit more time, put out a little bit of damage.
Pretty nice, but they had to use the salve so early. G going for that trade in the initial now puts Nefert in a position where he could die if he just oversteps his bounds as this racing. They have no salve up here. They have a bunch of tangos, so he's gonna slowly regen his way back up. His Chew
The aggression on... He's forced to go and use the shallow grave.
forced to skill Graven too.
That's not what you want to do.
No, most definitely not. You always want to have the shadow wave early on for sure.
Why was he so scared about that? Isn't that just a situation where you're like, okay, I'm gonna have to probably die here, but you know, you don't just panic?
He can't give up first blood versus this lane. It'll be
You say
disastrous.
that about every lane though, Fog. Like, there's gotta be some breathing room, no?
Yeah. He ends up living, so it's fine. Nightfall. Actually eating a lot of poison touch damage down here, but he'll be able to do just fine. And not giving up first blood. You know, skill in the grave. It's all fine if you live. But now it's like, now your aggression in the lane.
You got going on over here, buddy.
The thing is now is in the lane pressure, you're not going to be able to apply nearly as much onto Nightfall. So the lane that you ideally want with this Centaur is to be able to slow down the Void's farm. Now it's like that's never going to happen because you have this early point of the heal to force the lane in. And just extra damage, really. It is quite a lot of damage if you do rack up good connection. But here.
No, she's not going to be able to finish off here. Kinetic field. They wanted to try to make a play over on Chew, but nah, just going to trade hits.
Dancing around the pole, both trying to get it off there. Chew trying to interrupt it.
They got the one there, so I should be able to still.
What's Nightfall bringing out? I was wondering because he started with some interesting items on this Void. Oh! Okay, that's actually kind of cool. So Nightfall, he started with no regen. He started just with Circlet, Double Branch, into Quellblade. He has the Morbid Mask already coming out.
Oh, he went very early on that.
Yeah, he just full out rushed it. Probably going to just go in for first item Mask of Madness so he can go for these solo kills. As they mentioned on panel, there's not a lot of things that they can actually throw into Chrono, so he just wants to have maximum damage for himself inside of that one early. And, of course, the sustain it gives in lane is really effective versus these two, as they shouldn't surprise him with any like double stun combo. He's always going to be able to just like regen back up because it's versus a Dazzle, not a Lina.
It definitely feels like they've very like controlled this lane just by, you know, forcing the Dazzle too, right, to skill up the Shallow Grave instead of Shadow Wave. And then now, you know, they're just putting all this pressure down, and they're not going to be able to do too much Nightfall, which is very worrisome to me, honestly, because this is the guy that you know, if he gets that uninterrupted farm, is going to become an absolute menace. Because GPK, of course, is able to, you know, find his own opportunities, be able to pull off ganks and whatnot. But obviously, you know, Void, if he starts accelerating, it's very, very scary.
Yeah, if Void's not getting pressured in lane, it is usually pretty devastating. That's usually why the hero is a bit greedier, because you can't actually pressure him in the lane a lot of the times. But yeah, this Void's going to have full free farm. We see Magnus, full free farm, and we see that Tiny already coming out quite a bit ahead versus that Batrider VP. Some effective lanes coming into play.
Be careful here. There's Spy, DM, putting pressure over here on G. Gonna not go for that full-on committal, though. Let's get stunned up. A couple clicks here coming out from G. Shockwave just pulling him over. A couple of these Skelly boys have to watch out for. But Save is, of course, nearby.
G is doing a pretty good job of at least soaking the pressure. So we see the Wraith King's last hits. His farm is not too shabby up there.
Nice cheeky little play there too, drawing the aggro of those Skelly boys over to the camp, and can just go and grab these other creeps eventually.
Let's see what Save's gonna do with his next time. Look like he's just gonna sit around, get some stacks started, as they've already done a pretty good job in the top lane, and I don't think that they can actually pressure the Wraith King as much as they want to anymore. So Nefrit, he'll get to breathe this game. Actually gonna be able to get some farm, as we said, a much better draft this time from Extremum, and already seeing this coming into play here these first 6 minutes. But not slowing down Nightfall, so that's always going to be the concern, as I think Mask of Madness is pretty much done if he'd like to bring it out already.
This Faceless is actually, like, the fact that he hasn't been so heavily just pressured during this phase, and also you have to keep in mind, they do have a Magnus, too.
They do.
He is gonna, like, if they start stacking, which Save is definitely going to be doing, it's gonna be pretty scary when he just starts to, oh, and they've got double bounties over here, too. They just leaving money laying around here. Come on, VP.
GPK will go back and get it later. He's got a regen, though, so he doesn't really need it right now, but eventually.
The richer keep getting richer here, Fog.
Yeah,
what is
they
this?
do.
What is this nonsense?
That's the way it is in the world.
Feels bad. But yeah, we do have, you know, still some movement going on. I'd be interested to see if they are going to make any sort of like rotations here with this Tiny. It is fairly early. But if G is out of position, they definitely could get a quick pick off there.
I wouldn't be surprised. GPK does like being incredibly active when he does play this here, and he already has a good head start. He's already got the max avalanche too, so does pose quite good kill threat onto everybody except for Wraith King when he gets 6s. DM, they are looking for the stun. Secondary
tanky.
one. Yeah, he is just a bit too tanky. Perhaps his courier? No. Get that one. Shashlo, though, we see he's the winner up the lane anyway. Even though he has the Dazzle behind him, not Alina. He's not able to pressure the Void as much, but he's able to at least secure his farm nicely. So Vanguard is finished up, also level 6. So Stampede's available. So it is actually quite a lot harder for them to actually set up those ganks in the side lanes if GPK does make a rotation.
I mean,
And-
that's one of the values, right, about the fact of having a Centaur is that he is just so strong. Once he gets Vanguard online, too, he becomes nigh unkillable unless you have, you know, the appropriate magic damage to kind of deal with it.
But now they make the move, right? They're like, okay, well, Void's not pressured. Centaur's not going to kill a Void who has Mask of Madness at this point. Let's bring the line to the mid, or the Disruptor to the mid lane. Let's start making rotations.
Oh,
This
boy.
is the 46 on Wraith King. Just before he hits it, actually.
They're not done yet, too. They want G. They want this blood. The kinetic field is just a little bit too slow, but there's so many heroes chasing after this Lina LSA. Nope, sidestep here from GPK. Save Seer. And they're going to let GPK just finish up the kill. 4 heroes now rotating here. Oh, never mind. 4. I meant to say 5 heroes up in this top lane. The pressure is on. And if you thought Nightfall was going to be sitting back, relaxing, and farming, you'd be wrong here.
I think he was expecting a fight to come there, so he's like, okay, I gotta join my team. I think Bat Rider and the Centaur might come up here, but it doesn't be the case until now. Now, when they do show up, Nightfall is just like, okay, I'm just gonna pop Mask of Madness and get some farm on.
Give me that empower, baby. Let's go.
These moves they're all really clever with the information that they're given on the map, right? So they see the Dazzle goes mid to soak experience because Bat Rider starts to jungle, so that's when VP just instantly make the move to hit. They see this information on the map and they utilize it at its best. So they make this big pressure play, they get the kills, they don't stick around for the tower because they see the rotations, then they go back to their lanes. Now they go back to just efficient Dota. Save takes the mid lane, they start farming jungle with Nightfall and continue to get those stacks around at least the ancient camp for now to enable that Void later on with that power.
And like you said in the other lane, Sashlo, he was having a nice time. He's able to hit creeps and whatnot, but you're starting to see here with GPK and Nightfall here, they're just starting to creep up in terms of that farming network. Especially when you have that Empower, you have that Mask of Madness online for a Void. You're going to start farming a lot faster than this Wraith King when he doesn't have Radiance or anything like that. Over in the mid lane, though, they're trying to cancel it. They're trying to ruin GPK. Can they get the kill? They finally do. So Extremo will be able to add that to their resume. But Mellow Jewel, he's super fast. He's going to be able to clean up on save as well. So G, the GPK Slayer.
Finally, GPK, after 6 games of not dying, he does go down. The Haste Rune and the Lasso pulling him under tower, overplaying his hand just a bit. So Extremum able to punch back in this game, punch back in this series finally.
Radiant's bottom tower is under attack.
They're
So
oddly well behaved about it, though. I'm surprised they didn't do anything cheeky. Any voice lines, any question marks, pause the game.
They probably don't even know that that streak is happening, let's be honest.
Oh man, but that's such a bragging right.
Yeah.
You know, if I'm G, I'm being like, ooh, I did it. I got him.
Dyer's middle
But
tower
they still
is
have to win
under
the game.
attack.
Yeah, look at him.
He's just cutting waves with this Empower. DM,
Got DM
is
here.
near him.
Got nothing to fear.
Joshua is TPing in though.
You can TP in. You got a kill on Kingslayer, but they'll go immediately. They're mad that they got that kill, so G is going to immediately die for his sins thanks to the RP. The Hex comes out over to Soshlo. They're going to try to take some of that mana, and it does look like VP are backing off. They're respecting it here. Melojo also teleporting in, and we're just going to go back to farming.
Nightfall definitely has to respect the chip vest and that force cheeky retaliate that is coming through early on. It is really strong. He pops Mask of Madness and he's actually taking more damage than he's doing. So it does have to give respect to Joshua.
Bottom tower will go, and here in the bottom lane, you can see too that little bit of damage. There it is. For a dive.
Dyer's top
Okay,
tower
lead.
is about to take
Getting themselves
the
some good
blood.
farm on the map. Nefrit getting all that space to farm a bit faster still than the Void, who is trying to make some aggressive moves.
People, they're teleporting in though. Could stomp immediately over here onto Nightfall.
DMC.
Has to be careful. DM looks like he's going to be left high and dry.
Gone.
They've got enough damage and enough speed to just chase down this Magnus. But immediately you can see the move over into the middle lane. The glimpse comes out. Bye-bye, Nefrit. There's nothing worse than that. I see already TP to a tower and a Disruptor just glimpses you right back again. Now you're TPing something.
He's back though, and they defended the tower as well. Tower's still going to survive for a longer period than I think VP would have liked it too, and they're smoking. The Batrider lassos back up. They've got Laguna. They could set up a kill here onto Nightfall.
Save is here as well. And you can see they are making the rotation up now towards this top lane.
Oh, they're bringing
everyone.
quite a lot of heroes here.
Save. Get spotted out here. Immediately Sashlo. Nice air spike forward. Immediately getting the damage. Look at the damage though coming off from the center of the battalion. He was actually does damage, but he dies over on the side because G with the Dragon Slave. Oh my goodness. There it is. There's the last glimpse. Back then, Laguna Blade will still make sure that they clean up, and Save also will die.
The disrespect by VP trying to go for this. He saw the chip vest. He saw what was happening earlier to me. He killed himself.
Yeah.
He literally killed himself on chip vest and
He didn't
retaliate
expect
there.
Laguna there too.
They didn't even have to commit like a Laguna or anything. It was just a Dragon Slave to finish him off as Extremum. 4K gold advantage off of these moves. Very nice.
Radiant's
Blink Dagger also finished up, I believe.
Yes.
It
Yeah, they had
is.
the blink online for the Centaur, and they have a blink picked up for Tiny as well.
Like Mask,
Look at this
look how
damage.
much he's
Oh my
damaged
God.
taking back from just retaliate chip vest. Like, look at his armor. He's
And he
got
finally
3 armor.
realizes.
Yeah,
he
he's
realizes he backs off, and then just G in the back line.
Easy.
Radiant's top tower is under attack.
No reaction.
No
None
reaction.
at all. All right, cool. Glad we have these cams. Over in the mid lane, that's Ashlo getting the jump off over onto DM. You have several people in the vicinity, should they decide, but they're smoked up over here. GPK
He's got the blink.
forward. Blink finds himself too. They want to get rid of the dazzle as fast as possible. They don't want to. Oh, he already saved himself though. It's not quite enough damage. They do get the chronosphere off. They're gonna try to focus down the Lina. They'll get the kill over onto 2. The push back here coming out from DM. As they'll push back again, but no one's. They just have the one person over there caught in the kinetic field. He doesn't
Static
seem to
sword.
care too much.
Still Extremum. They're making some really nice moves anyway here, keeping themselves at this nice advantage. And yeah, we're seeing that VP draft, which they did pick the Void into this Wraith King. They picked a lot of these heroes into some of these kind of counter matchups. It is working out for Extremum here at the start. Now we're seeing these Ancients being farmed up. Nightfall, he wants to enable his game a little bit better here after that big slip up top.
Yeah, a couple of these fights just going completely sideways for VP, and you can see now that the net worth is starting to even out quite a bit over here in terms of the top farming cores.
Yeah. And with Blink Shashlo, they can keep looking to make these moves. We got G as well too with the high levels here in level 9, and great ancient stacks set up as Shashlo can tank it freely. Vanguard Chip Vest, the Dream. Easy peasy. This is good stuff right now. Extremum have come with a nice game plan here at VP, not respecting it as much as I think they should be. As yeah, constant smokes now. Smoke here with the Batrider, with the Lina, with the Centaur, the Kill Crew, with the Dazzle sitting behind the Wraith King. The game plan is nice. Like the itemization too, definitely pointing out how Chu, he did end up dying earlier, but double fluffy hats to survive the tiny combos. That's always what we want to see on supports, either fluffy hats or raindrops.
All right, well, the TPs are coming in now for VP. They want to stack this tower. Immediately jumps in forwards. Your RP comes out, and there's going to be the follow-up here by Nightfall. He's going to back off. They'll just let them take bath in the middle of all of this. And the Liquid Blade comes out over to GPK. He's going to fall a second time. He's going to DP. What's this disruptor? And by God, he's going to get it.
Radiant's middle tower.
Great smoke, great invasion play. Again, VP jumping in, but you can see they were quite reluctant to fully commit. They're like, oh God, we actually don't really have the damage to bring down this tanky Nephrit or tanky Shashlo at the moment. This is looking pretty good here for Extreme. A 6K gold lead already off of this. Top net worth Batrider with such early boot to travel. BKB soon on the horizon. This is excellent right now. And Shashlo, he already sees them making the move up here.
You can see the pings are coming out too. They've got Melojul nearby. No Chronosphere to have to worry about.
Radiant's
Just gonna
middle
go
tower
farm up
can't
for now.
handle this
Play it
deluge.
cool.
Great. Wraith King now already has Armlet, and he's going straight into AC, just building up his tanky items so that he can survive versus these Chronos. And we're seeing definite damage issues coming into play for VP right now.
I mean, you saw how fast Nightfall. He looked at them. There was the RP. He was like, ah, yeah. And then he's like, ah, no, wait a minute. I don't actually want to be in here. So he just backs off. Save though in the top lane.
Another
He's
one.
gonna get picked off.
Shashlo gets the kill for himself again. Great game right now for the center. 1-0-8, 9 of the 10 kills he's involved in. He's gonna be so problematic. It's gonna take them like to way later stages to really bring down this center unless he's totally isolated. He has Hood, Vanguard, 2100 HP with Chip Vest. It's not gonna be an easy target for them at all. They don't really have, they have no percent-based damage. They will have the Void, of course, amplified from Empower later on, but that's gonna be way later stages for them to deal with the Centaur. And G, the 5th position Lina, has an Aether Lens already, so he has great follow-up for the initiation of Shashlo or Melojul.
You heard what you said, Fog. He's like, oh yeah, Fog, well, I'm gonna prove you wrong. I'm gonna prove that position 5 Lina is good.
Well, he's actually kind of playing the 4 a little bit here with the farm priority that's been given, but yeah, playing in the safe lane, he did do better than I actually had thought it would go.
Radiant are scanning for enemies.
Protecting this mid tower over here, Ju and G.
That is all really good stuff from Extremum, hitting all the item timings too. Now, like I said, Aether Lens finished up with this Keen Optic. I believe the Bat Rider very close to BKB. That's going to be such a problem for the majority of the side of VP. Besides that Void and that, of course, RP, he's just going to be able to BKB and run right through and pick and choose his targets that he does get that lasso on too.
That's very, very scary for VP here. They definitely have the nuke damage available to try and, you know, just get a quick cleanup immediately with that. As the bottom lane, Nephrit just gonna walk right into the wave here. Doesn't feel too worried about the Tiny or the Disruptor at this time.
Yeah, VP just has to kind of play for farm game for quite some time. The Void not nearly online to be able to go into these fights, and he is playing into counter heroes, as we said. They picked it into the Wraith King.
Yeah. Save.
Again, same
Play
similar
Wraith.
spot.
Yeah, Save, I think. I would say he's trying to just make some sort of space or something, but he's getting chomped away over here.
They're just, he wants to get, like, if they want blink daggers right now, they're feeling like they probably can't make any plays until they get a secondary blink to follow up for GPK, but he's just they know what he's trying to do. Extremum, they identify that he is trying to go for that type of initiate, and yeah, they just keep shutting him down.
That is BKB completed now for the Bat.
Super early. Beck also on the Dazzle, so we were saying damage issues for VP. This is going to provide even more issues for them as Extremum continuing to get such a big advantage. Now they're even looking at Roche.
And they have no idea.
Nope.
Everyone over on VP for the most part just clustered in the bottom end of the jungle, so this is a little bit slower of a Roche, but they'll definitely be able to take it.
Yeah, full HP, they have good ward coverage too. Everybody in the area. VP is starting to move now, but even then, I don't believe that they have the damage to be able to take this fight unless they land some 5-man ultimates. And they don't have Blink Dagger yet on DM, so it's very unlikely. And this is free for Extremum. Continuing to make some really nice moves.
Yeah, definitely. All right, Melojule's got himself. What's the likelihood that we're going to see a shard on Melojule too?
Under pressure.
I don't think he has to go for it. I think he'd rather have just initiation.
Okay.
Yeah.
They're trying to break
Invasion here. They see Nightfall. The stun up. Not gonna poke too hard here. GPK though, joining on the back lines, hoping to get his hands on G. Throw out a cheeky avalanche. And they're gonna back off. They don't want to fight into this lineup right now. Not after they just got themselves an Aegis.
Now, ranking, he's such a big issue. Extremum. Great ward coverage too. VP has such limited vision around the map right now. They're trying to play into their triangle, but Extremum's just camping it.
Keep poking away here over Nightfall too, it seems. So let's start the Firefly up. Clear out the creep waves here. Do a little bit of farming there. Looking for anyone that they can grab.
VP can't clear out their triangle. They can't get access to their ancients. Extremum continue to do this great job of keeping them away from any farm. Nightfall.
Walked right into them. They're trying to set up perhaps with the stomp coming out as well. Rosashla will prevent DM from getting an RP.
Ooh, DM? Okay, he's okay. Didn't actually end up skewering on low ground there. We're still on high ground. Ancients are cleared. They're smoking, trying to get a wraparound onto the squishy supports, perhaps.
Positioning so good. Okay, they're leaving into the middle. It's not able to get the kill over onto G because they do have the heals. They'll follow up with the Laguna Blade. G getting chased down over on the back line. Stomp over here on the side, though, with the LSA. There it is. There's the Chronosphere. And Nightfall, he's trying. He's got some of this damage. He'll be able to take the MGK. And they'll get the Aegis, but Melojule's coming right back up again. Sashlo over here on the back lines. Melojule is alive and kicking. The Jace is on over here. I'd say they'll be able to find that kill. Stomp forward again, coming out from Sashlo. The Stampede, because they want to just chase after him, but they do have the lasso. They've got the BKB. The other stun art. He is going to come out. They'll be able to buy a little bit more time. Nightfall turning right back around again. We'll get the kill over onto Melojule, and they should be able to take down Nephrit. He's toggling his strike. That is going to be the reincarnation. Coming right back up again. They have the spike. They've got the back, everything. And they burst down the Wraith King underneath their tower.
Got to be a little careful how they overextend. VP does cost 2 buybacks to get these 2 return kills, but it's the style that they do want to play. It's all about the Void for them in this game, just waiting until very much later stages in the game as he is so far behind. They do get themselves back in it a little bit here. Expensive though, 2 buybacks. But at least get themselves some room to be able to farm with that Void and alleviate their triangle. Very important. Didn't quite find the vision though. There's still a
faces a
ward
stiff
up on this
win.
high ground here. Be able to watch right there. One right by save. And, oh, but a fortunate item. Look at this, the Philly. Philly for save. He's gonna be able to get his blink dagger at a decent time, perhaps now because of that.
God, that feels the best when you're playing from behind and then all
Yeah.
of a sudden the Philosopher's Zone drops and you're like, ho, I can play the game again.
Let's be honest, it feels the best to get it ever.
Yes, that's
why
true.
you're
As
just
a
like, oh, the
support.
Philly.
Oh, thank God, I can finally get an item. Something. Reports have it so easy though nowadays, Fog. You know, our
Something.
wards are free. We get a courier. We don't have to upgrade the courier.
Yeah, TPs are, at least TPs are 100 gold now. They used to be 135 back in my days.
G, has to be careful here. GPK on the hunt does have that blink dagger.
They have that one ward that they're utilizing as well.
Can toss up and a quick pick
Radiant's
off
bottom
on
tower
Lena.
faces a stiff win.
Now, very aware that they can't continue to do that, but blink dagger does get picked up from Mellow Jewel as well.
Yep, and now
Better
save.
positioning.
He's the one asking for the lane. He's like, GPK, go away. You got the kill. Give me the lane. I need my blink dagger so we can have follow-up, so we can have several forms of initiation. Since GPK has his, DM has his now too. And if they do have the triple blinks, it's going to be a lot easier for them to catch the backlines. Now you're not as reliant on poor Nightfall just catching like a Dream Chrono. They can actually get set up into the back to catch like this Dazzle in case he's not in the Chrono. Same thing for the Lena. They're getting much better timings here. And Void, he's reclaimed that top net worth.
Extremum though going for the smoke.
They still
right
have the ward.
the area.
Yeah, they still see everybody
There's a lot of
from
people
VP.
here though. I'm not sure about this. Okay, the jump forward from Sasha. Not gonna be able to do it quite fast enough. They go and they get blitz back. The follow up with the RP. There's the Chronosphere as well. And they drop the static stone on top of everything else. And they're just trying to beat that over to Melody, but they don't quite have it. DM, he's also ticking down his step over on the top of the stars.
Nightfall.
Followed up with the Laguna Blake. Can Nightfall walk away? Yes, he's got the time walk here. DPK tossed back up into the air, trying to just burst down Melody. He'll be able to find it, but now he needs help. He needs so much help here from his team. And Sage does come into clutch here with the Blake. That's touchdown. They have the. They won't be able to take him down first time, but now GPK, he's got it out of here. Stocklook is a nice stomp. They're gonna try to follow up. They'll get the kill on Save. They'll get the kill over onto Kingslayer. And really, they lost Melojoul and they lost the reincarnation, and that's about it.
Extremum hitting hard, playing around their vision. Even though they're playing into these big ultimates, it doesn't matter. They know how strong they really are. And we see that
They're
Dazzle
trying to bring
coming
down
into play. How
Radiant's top tower.
issue is GPK gets on top of him, but it's a 1500 HP Dazzle with a mech. Can't bring him down in time. He gets a couple heals into that Chronosphere, and it won't matter. They won't have the damage to bring down much of anything besides that bat and reincarnate. The fights are so hard for VP. You can the way they're just like trying to dance around it, but
Yeah.
Extremum just with brute force are winning the fights.
Well, the problem becomes too. Oh god, they're trying to just save this courier. Serpentine, hide in the trees. Okay, but yeah, you know, it's one of those situations where how do you get into these back lines?
Just the blinks have to, they're getting into the back. It's just, they're too
They're too tanky.
Yeah, they're too tanky. They're too ahead right now for them to really blow them up as effective as they ideally want to. Because of how, I mean, the big disparity in the game. Like 11,000 net worth lead for Extremum.
Radiant's bottom
Dazzle almost
tower
has the same net worth as Magnus, same thing as Alina. They are unbelievably farmed.
Save is trying to go there for that Earth Spike, but a little bit off the mark.
And Epikid, Nightfall, still does have a pretty good timing. He's got this Eye of Scotty, so he's a lot tankier. We are seeing them have some trouble bringing him down, and they're looking to hit hard.
They are. While leading the charge, immediately GPK's found himself a Lena. Should be able to burst her down at the very least. And there's going to be the fight over on the backside. The skewer for here, Sasha and Nefert, though they're so tanky.
There's no reincarnate still.
But they'll be able to go. They hold them up to that cage. Getting the kinetic off. They'll go for the RP as well. They want to just burst him down. They do get the Shadow Grey Book, though. Over on the back lines, Melojoul having his own fight as Nefert is running for his life. DPK will fall. Nefert somehow still alive during all of this. And that's the problem. Where's the damage? Where's your damage? Jump forward again here, coming out from Sashlo. And he might have gone perhaps a little bit too far. He is caught in the cage over here. The Dazzle, though, presenting himself over to Nightfall. Does have the Shallow Grave. He'll be able to take down Kingslayer. Nightfall chasing after Sashlo now, realizes that's probably not going to be able to go and get Shu, but they end up losing DM during all of this, and now it is just Nightfall left here that they're going to have to buy back. They don't want to lose Nightfall here. Immediately, though, with the skewer pushed back over underneath the tower, can they take down Nefert in time? Yes, they can with the reincarnation. It's back up. They have to do a lot more here as he is caught over on the side. They have the Hex. The follow-up is here. They should be able to finally take down Nefert.
And Kingslayer's
But it's
looking for the
expensive.
+1.
Oh,
He's looking for Chu.
he can't find Chu.
And yeah, it is very expensive for them to go for this, but the Void, he's the big winner. That continues to happen here. Top net worth, clutch grave, Chu. Perfect timing there. The reincarnate was still on cooldown for the Wraith King at the start of the fight. Saves him. They're able to get some really nice reset plays, and then he goes back in And yeah, VP forced to buy back, but now they have Chronosphere for the next fight. They didn't have it for this last one, and this Void is starting to be pretty problematic. 3,200 HP, all the status resist, and his damage, it gradually does build up. So all these stats and empower, and those long fights are benefiting him at the least. Still 12k behind though.
Oh, immediately trying to use the Glimmer Cape, but they do have the vision. And there'll be a glimpse back. Nightfall didn't even need to go that far with the jump. The LC does connect though. They'll follow with an avalanche, and they'll be able to get the up on the Lena.
Void's getting away with everything. Takes the attack speed talent. He knows this game he has to be the big hitter. Has to take the health because he wants to be tanking up at the portion that they were at. But yeah, needs all that attack speed as possible. He's really providing pretty much all the damage in the team. Everyone else is just going to be locked down. Catch for him.
I mean, we talked about that during the draft and whatnot. They don't have much to go into that Chronosphere along with them, other than, you know, the static storm for the most part, right? So, you know, eventually Tiny could do a tree toss, but that's a bit always here. So it really does make sense that he's got to be, you know, this hard hitter, the person who's getting the farm, who's making these plays, and just outputting that damage.
Yeah, until like way later stages, right? Until Tiny has Aghanims, that they don't really have anything to throw inside a Chronosphere, which is not going to be the item he goes for. He needs a BKB in the fight because he's getting controlled from all the magic damage in that last fight in particular. He got pulled onto a cliff from last up, which is always really sad. Yeah.
Oh, back here. Already Melojuel's is out there though.
Very close. You see their itemization. It's all about enabling the Void. Pipe on DM. Next going to be going for the Vlads. Just anything to buff him up on Nightfall.
Do an effort, just gonna hightail it out. They realize that somebody is rotating. They do have a nice ward up, and they don't want to do clean up that wave though, nice and easy like. And BP checking around the pit.
Under attack.
They have all their big team fight abilities up now, and this, as you said, the Void is starting to hit pretty hard, approaching that next big item as well too, near MKB. His damage is going to be incredibly high versus this Wraith King at this point, who is a bit of ways away from BKB, so he is very vulnerable to that high magic damage that Void does do on top of high physical. Extremum trying to catch them off guard here.
Look at all the pings just everywhere here, safe. The one who walks into the pit. They could have gotten a jump on him, but they're waiting for bigger fish.
Scary to walk up high ground blind now at this point, as VP has refound their footing quite effectively here for the Void.
They know something's up though, because they can see that wave was pushed all the way up to the tower. So you can see the way that VP, they're playing so tight, right? Save is the one in the very front in case he can break any sort of smoking. And he also has a blink too. He's got these capabilities, and they will reveal the dazzle here, so.
Yeah, Save is really just going for the big play. Like, as soon as the Centaur blinks on him, he'll blink backwards. Same thing if the Bat Rider jumps on him. He does have opportunity to at least disengage quickly.
Those young people reflexes.
Yeah, they really do.
Cat.
Initiation gonna be crucial here on both sides.
It's still smoked up. It is about halfway done though. Looking for that perfect opportune moment, but Extremum not gonna present it to them. They're gonna still just stay tight. Big play now is Roche. It is up.
It is back up.
Kingslayer dropping down the kinetic field. They know. Attacking all.
Effort's not getting a lot of farm right now though, and he does need this BKB at some point, but it's all about the fights, really. As they know, VP's utilized a lot of buybacks in order to win the fights. Some of them still on cooldown here, Magnus and Disruptor.
I love this positioning from Save, just throw around the pit like right behind the trees. This is gonna break any smokes and immediately blink away. Extremum not opting to go for that area. Oh, they scan, they know. Melojuel leaving a trail with the Firefly. Save, getting to position here. Sashlo being on low ground, waiting for that opportune moment to jump up, but they don't have any vision.
It's so scary. Walking into high ground versus Magnus and Void. They know that the combo can just catch them. It's just too much of a positioning advantage for VP. Extremum can't take advantage. Now they'll back up, look to finish up these items. Taking some time to do it though. Void continued to farm Ancients during that whole time, and now MKB about 200 gold away for Nightfall.
I'm gonna name the spot the Save spot in all of my games from now on.
He's just
Patient little lion. Look at him. So patient.
He's just spamming it.
He's creeping. Having a good time.
Yeah, just really just playing around their Ancients here.
Sets make no sense. It's just an absolute abomination. I don't understand them. Do you, Fog?
What, the lion?
The lions.
He's like the Thanos, whatever you want to call him, with like these horns and stuff.
All of his items are so bizarre.
Cosmetics are neat.
He's got like a tank on him. All right, well, it feels like VP.
They've got a timing here. With this MKB, they're feeling very strong. They're actually jumping in Efrit.
Yeah, follow up here from Deep. They're just going to push him right outside of the pit, but they do get the last up over on the backhand line. There's a jump forward here coming out from Sashlo. It's GPK chasing down Nefrit. They do manage to pop in the first these supports begin. Right to choose him, G as well. There's gonna be the buyback now coming out from G. Sashlo left alone here. Is very tanky. GPK though, can they? Oh no, Nefert, he's already just teleported out, but they might have just given up this Roche now. Sashlo getting slowed. Hit back here from DM. He's very, very tanky, but blinks away. Nefert taking the long way back.
Oh, so perfect from Nightfall. Confidently jumps into the pretty risky position, but just jumps in and gets it to support. So we're seeing this build. It's working. He's so tanky, the status just... They can't bring him down, even if they get the initial jump on him. And Nefert forced to use a defensive BKB and TP out. So BKB still cooldown 35 seconds for the side of Extremum.
Gonna go back in again.
Nightfall just walks in.
Yeah, he just walks in. He's got people behind him because they've got the RP over here on DM. The leap into that and he's getting rid of Chu. He's not gonna be available. Laguna Blade does come out. They'll take down DM. They get off that Laguna Blade finger rather over onto the side. Another LSA coming out as they're just trying to push them away. Save. Might need a little bit of help, but GPK jumping onto the back lines. He wants to try to burst them down. It will fall. Nightfall man fighting here with Nefert. He's got the reincarnation back up again though. He's gonna have to take him down a second time as the line did buy back. GPK is on his way. But look at the positioning coming out now from Sashlo. They have the BKB online here for GPK. They're trying to follow up. BKB coming out now from Nefert and the Lotus Orb. They're trying to protect him as much as possible. They know that he can't go down here. As they go all in and they still, Extremum not able to get the Roche, but at the same time they protect the Wraith King.
Yep. Another defensive BKB force, so now for the fight, he's not going to have it. Extrema might be running out of gas here to be able to fight around this. Without Chu, he's so important for the Fox, this Dazzle. They're able to get on him this time again, VP. These jumps.
You can see GPK, though, waiting patiently with that avalanche, with the toss, whatever he needs to do to protect Nightfall here. Lotus Orb coming in, just sidestepping outside the pit. No big deal. Nice Earth Spike. GPK jumping on the back.
Mellow.
He gets rid of Mellow Jewel almost immediately. He's not going to be able to be a part of this fight, although they do buy back. Laguna being used over onto GPK. The drag, though, the slow over on the back end line. Can they take down this Wraith King? Yes, it's going to go down again. First time Kingslayer taking so much damage here from Lina. Nightfall, though, looking for the opening. He wants Nefert. He wants his blood. They want to just erase him from this game so he cannot keep coming in. And they go. They get the lasso off. They'll hold him in place a little bit longer. They've got the BKB. And they do manage to finally take down Nightfall. GPK now running for his life. They buy back, though. Again, over on the faceless point. GPK trying to break some ankles here. Toss up into the air, but they have so much damage. They'll be able to go and they take him out. More buybacks coming out. They don't want to lose this. Roche, they're mad on the side of VP. They want to get in there.
They're buying back on all three of
They
them.
want
They know how important.
everybody in this fight.
They know it's just the most important thing for them. If they lose this Roche, it's going to be such a tough position for them in these next 5 minutes or so. They have Chrono available too from Nightfall. They're just jumping back in.
Comes back in, gets off a nice dash immediately. And there's the stomp, though. The RP coming out here from DM. Will catch on too, but they need to get onto those back lines. And there it is. There's the Chrono. They should be able to go at this below on G. Over on the other side too. They've got their eyes on the Dazzle. Can they take him out fast? Q. He walks into that Chronosphere. He's got the shallow grave, but he's going to DM fighting back. Yeah, wants to be a part of this. The stunts coming out. Can they keep him alive too? They've had enough of this Dazzle. They get rid of a beautiful Earth Spike coming out from Save. They'll be able to take down Nefert. It's a triple con. They're looking to make it a quad if they can. The Hex, the slow, everything just being dumped out. Even Flaker cannot save him as the Roche finally, unless they're gonna buy back, should be going over the side of VP.
It's the most complicated fights ever, really, for VP to be able to become successful in them, and somehow they're able to take it when they are at this deficit. These stuns from Save multiple times on 2 heroes. They're baiting Nightfall so they can get these setups and just constantly looking for backline. Mellow Jewel again gets caught. He's trying to dance around. He actually does a good job of
He gets stuck in the crowd.
moving around a bit, but yeah, he does eventually get grabbed up. And they just keep getting these double stuns. Like watching Save here, these positionings, he's just able to get these constant double stuns in order to set up Nightfall and just cleave him down.
What a team fight.
VP is just on another level of being able to fight. They're still at a pretty big goal deficit, and they're able to take these fights just because of sheer will, sheer execution, and just bloodthirstiness. These buybacks.
Well, they identify the points. You watch Nightfall just dodges in and out. Okay, so we have the Thunderstrike shard
We do.
over here, but you watch the way that they play these fights. You watch the way they position Nightfall, just sidestepping out. He wants to kill Nefert, but the entire time he knows the big threats are the ones that are sitting on the back lines. And it was what we asked about. At least that's what I asked about.
Yeah.
Rather to you, how do you get on the back lines? Well, you just use a Chronosphere. It's
You
easy.
just use Nightfall. You just have him be the boss. 10-2 and 9 in this game. He's really the one who's just bringing it all together for his team, and they're all amping him. As we said, everything to boost him up. The Disruptor Shard coming into play too for that increased attack speed and movement speed. All these other little things on top.
Ah, yes, the boofing.
The boofing.
Give them all the boofs.
It's very important. And now he's got Satanic with Paladin Sword near level 25. They were barely bringing him down with the full chain stun if they perfectly utilized it. Now, you know, it's a very tough cookie to crack. Is G.
Oh dear. Now they drop the sentry here, and they're just gonna get rid of the Lina. And get rid of Ward too. Value.
And Extremum now finally starting to fall into the VP trap. Just, they're so good at taking these fights, even at this deficit. This is just insane to watch.
Dire's bottom tower is under
Sure,
attack.
VP fans were sitting a little nervous in the chat earlier, but
Radiant's top
you know, you
tower
can't
is
doubt
under
Nightfall,
attack.
the way this guy plays and the way that his team plays around him to enable him.
And I think it's really important just look at like the win rate. Like, you know, this Dota Plus win rate, it was quite confidently, very much so in Extremum Fib. He swung so quickly from these last few fights, these buybacks. VP just so good at utilizing them. This has been quite a treat to watch the way they do dance around the fights.
In some ways, I almost like when we see these games where they have to kind of reset, right? Because it's never fun to cast a stall. Unless, you know, it's the team that, you know, you love. Then obviously Twitch chat's like, yeah, you know, my team is winning. But like in situations like this, to see the way that they recover, to see the way that they play the map and just itemize correctly, I think that is just so much fun to watch.
It is, especially when like you see Save, he's 0 and 8. You know, they've made VP lead more than ever before in this season. Still somehow they're able to bring it all together. Now they have this big lead where Nightfall is pretty much unkillable.
Is under attack.
Well, they're gonna try. They have to try, but they are smoked up, and they're trying to do some sort of wrapping motion here. See
what they
Mellow
can get.
Jewel waiting patiently over here on the back line.
He's got a
You have
gem.
wards, though.
Take
Dire's
that
bottom tower
ward on the high ground. He needs to get a good grab. He's been caught several times.
Look at the way they're hiding in the tree line, though. Immediately, the follow up, the jump, and they just do so much damage. A clean coming out here. And they get the Chronosphere over on the side. They've got Mellow Jewel. They should be able to just burst him down. They have to figure. Oh, good save though, coming out from Chu with the shallow grip. Finds us a little bit more time. The BKB though coming out here from there. He's pushed right into the desert. Mellow Jewel will fall. And their follow up here from Sasha. DM does get taken down, but GPK, he's gonna have to turn right back around. Doesn't manage to get the reincarnation. Nightfall chasing on the back. He wants to get rid of G. He's gonna have to turn right back around again. Put the damage out over here onto Nefrit. Toss up into the air here, and that's a good LSA buys just a bit more time, but G most likely going to. But he's trying. He can't get over there fast enough. As they'll take down Nefrit. They'll take down G. Rock'em sock'em indeed.
And that may be it. Again, they find Mellow Jewel before he's able to get a single spell off. This Void, Nightfall, so good with his chronos every single time this game. VP, somehow, at such a disadvantage, they bring it back. And, I mean, they pretty much just won the game. I think they can just go for tier 4. There's no Wraith King, there's no nothing. That just is it.
That's a study in just being patient. Yeah, the G's get dropped. But
Wow.
A study in patience, for sure. The way that they play this, the way Sasha is not quite ready to give up just yet, but you know.
This was just a display of how good VP really is, honestly. Like, at such a big disadvantage, I'm so impressed with their buyback usage this game. Extremum must be kicking themselves because they did such a good job. They had an excellent draft. They utilized it perfectly. They kept taking these pretty good fights, but VP, they outplayed them in the fights.
I mean, yeah, you know, it looked very, very good for Extremum. I know they're definitely the underdog going into the series, but, you know, it's one of those things where they had all this momentum, and VP just outskilled them. They outmaneuvered them.
They did.
They just played their draft so incredibly well, especially, you know, I'm still flabbergasted by the fact that, you know, Nightfall, so patient with those Chronospheres. He could have Chronosphered, you know, earlier. He could have just grabbed, you know, Sashla always presenting himself very front and forward, so was Nefrit, but he knew the big people to hit were Mellow Jewel, G, and Chu over in those back lines, and it paid off.
And look at it, like, you can just see from the damage, you know, they all about enabling Nightfall. He did 50,000